TikTokers who became horrible criminals.
TikTok is an interesting platform. You have silly videos, dance challenges, and oh yeah, full-on criminals. Anything from pretending to be
Well,
a
there do
police
be that
officer with
dancer
clout
lady.
to murder. Though at first glance
is
these
pretty
people
criminal.
don't stick out. I mean, come on, you keep scrolling and forget half the videos you watched. It is worth noting everyone on this list has a horrible reason they're in today's video. Welcome to TikTokers who became horrible criminals. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. That's right, we did it. We hit a month of weekly uploads. Y'all thought I couldn't do it? I'm proving y'all wrong. Thank you guys so much for the support in the last video. We hit the trending tab here on YouTube. I love hitting the trending tab. Trending gaming is cool too.
Trending,
we all know that's like the junior of the actual trending tab. So thank you guys so much. I honestly didn't think they would put a video
my
with the
microwave
word
burrito did that weird thing where it straight gets stuck to the fucking to the paper towel. And it's like kind of grossed me out. I kind of don't want to eat it. Oh shit, he's got an album. Oh damn.
I have all of them right here in my room, so I'm gonna be the one that's physically shipping them all out. So yeah, Tubbs fingerprints
straight like
gonna be
ripping
on
off
this.
tortilla
Same
off
with
this
the
sucker.
CDs. They're being shipped with love. Every single copy of the cassettes
All my tortillas
and
gone.
CDs are signed. And yes, the cassettes work. Bruh, it's so difficult.
It had
to
too
learn how
much
to use
like
a cassette. I was asking my mom how to use
ice
this because I don't know.
condensation, I guess.
Yeah, it's honestly such a cool novelty item, and there's only 100 cassettes and 100 CDs. There's only 200 in total. You guys are probably wondering, why such a little amount? Well, because they took forever to make, and if they sell out quick, of course I'll order another batch.
my
They're already
burrito
ready
is...
to go, so it won't be
My
difficult to
burrito's
get
been
more. Oh, yeah, they're
skinned.
gonna be available at earldoesn'texist.com. Anyway, now let's get started.
Oh no, this thing look...
Claire Miller. We've actually spoken about this
man.
girl in the darkest TikTok iceberg, so if the story seems familiar, that's probably why. In a very bizarre case of cold-blooded murder, a girl told the police, quote, I would have killed
no,
someone
look at that.
sooner if I knew I was gonna get McDonald's.
Look at what it did
The
to
girl
my
in question
boy.
was Claire Miller, a 14-year-old.
Oh, here, we gotta restart this, bro. My burrito was done out so dirty by my napkin. Like, I had too much icicles, I guess, and the plastics of the condensation built up with the napkin ripping off the back. You see that? I should have straight got rid of the napkin sooner, but I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to do too many things. Anyways,
Our case of cold-blooded murder.
where are we starting?
Claire Miller. We've actually
Claire?
spoken about this girl in the darkest TikTok
Fucking Claire?
iceberg, so if the story seems familiar, that's probably why. In a very
Claire?
bizarre case of cold-blooded murder, a girl told the police, quote, I would have killed someone sooner if I knew I was gonna get McDonald's. The girl in question was Claire Miller, a 14-year-old 9th grade girl living with her parents and sister in Manheim Township, Pennsylvania. She made this statement after the police brought her breakfast a few hours after she was accused of stabbing and killing her 19-year-old sister, Helen. Claire, now age
Her
16,
sister?
used to look after her older sister Helen, who was wheelchair bound as she had cerebral palsy. Now, given her age and demeanor, you could probably mistake her for your average teenager on TikTok. She was a fairly known person on TikTok, going by the handle @spirits and such consulting. However, her TikTok account was not so average, as it now seems she had a dark side to her content. For example, in one video she is seen singing along to the song, quote, Don't Make Me Get Violent by Carol's Daughter. The song is associated with the idea of wanting to hurt someone because they hurt you. The exact lyrics she sang along to were, Don't make me get violent, I want my ring back, baby that's a diamond. Her account featured other similarly oriented sounds that you wouldn't think you know anything about. Then you find out this girl became a murderer, and you look back at these sounds and you're like, what did you mean by that? She also made another TikTok using the popular
does sound quite
I'm dead,
suggestive.
You killed me, I am dead
And,
now. She also had a decent
sus.
viewership with these videos, with one in particular getting as many as 1.8 million views. On the fateful night of February 22nd, 2021, Claire is said to have used a kitchen knife to stab her sister. When police arrived at the scene after being called to the home at around 1:08 a.m., they walked into Helen's bedroom to find her covered in a bloodied pillow and a knife lodged in her. On their way in, they had met Claire outside the house, wearing bloody pants and hands covered with blood. She was simply repeatedly saying, I have stabbed my sister. The saddening part of the whole ordeal is that psychiatrists have suggested that she didn't knowingly engage in the act. Dr. Susan Rushing, her psychiatrist, said she suffered from auditory hallucinations and thus heard voices. On that specific night, she heard a voice telling her to slash her own throat too. While being held in a juvenile detention cell, a township police officer, Martin, testified in court that Claire did not appear upset or sad during the time that he watched her. Her demeanor since the killing has been a debatable issue, with other psychiatrists like Dr. John O'Brien saying he couldn't find any consistent demeanor that could be used to diagnose Claire. It's also terrifying that while in juvenile detention, Claire Miller said she Michael Myers her sister.
Okay, that is odd, but that is a weird way to put You're gonna say what the fuck? You're gonna say you don't remember doing it, and then you're gonna be like, "Damn, I'm kind of like Michael Myers, ain't I?" I mean, I mean, I guess you kind of like playing it off, but it gives kind of a sus tone. It's very interesting. I was thinking like her playing off of not knowing. I wonder how that goes in court and stuff, because that's gotta be like a interesting subject area, and like I wouldn't say play, but just an interesting addition to court, you know? Very interesting.
Crazy to say. Jesus, it's like you're making a joke out of it.
Yeah,
the ongoing
for real.
Proceedings will
That's pretty
determine if
crazy.
she will be tried as an adult or as a minor.
He's right.
Marianne Oliver
I'm right.
Snow, another TikToker involved in a horrible crime, is the cosplay influencer and OnlyFans model Mary Oliver Snow, aka Yandere Freak, aka Yandere Snow, aka Snow and the Salt Queen. In 2021, Snow, age 23 at the time, who also posted Yandere cosplay content on Instagram, was charged with second-degree murder for allegedly drunkenly shooting and killing their friend, Helen Hastings, in the wee hours of January 17th. Snow, who
What's
goes
happening?
by they, them, had about 1.6 million TikTok followers at the time of the incident and was an internet celebrity in the cosplay community due to their performance and mimicry
Is
of
she
various
okay?
Japanese anime characters, especially Junko
Oh.
from Danganronpa. Alright, I don't know if it's Junko or Junko. Y'all don't roast me on that because I don't
Play that video game.
a Japanese character in a video game where teens
thought she was,
are
like,
locked
trying
in
to
school
dance.
and forced to fight a murderous bear to death. How were Snow and the victim Helen?
I guess it kinda is a dance.
Well, they were in a tightly knit social circle
Kind
of
of.
cosplayers in Houston, where Snow was the central figure, but they had known
I don't know
each
what you
other
call
since
that.
Hastings was in 10th grade.
I've seen,
Hastings, who
like,
went by
some
they, them
Emeru
as well,
posts
was
kinda
also
like that.
fairly influential in the cosplay community in Houston, as they had
Cosplay.
120,000
Yeah, it's
TikTok
like cosplay
followers at the
videos
time of
with
their
dances,
death. The two spent a lot of
poses,
time together,
all
and
sorts of-
even on the night they shot Hastings, they were at home watching TV. On that night, Snow pointed a gun at Hastings and shot them. Hastings went on life support for 2 days before eventually passing due to injuries on January 19th. According to the criminal complaint, the defendant stated they had been passing the gun around for hours and had been playing around with it. The
Passing it
defendant said
around?
they weren't paying attention hard enough and they
Like
might
a
have been
cheese
too
plate?
drunk. The defendant said the compliant came up to them
Passing
and
it
was
around?
joking around, telling the defendant, "Ooh, shoot
Like a
me,"
joint?
as they were laughing, and the defendant
Nah.
said, "Oh, okay," and said it went off, saying they were in shock and that it was supposed to be empty. The defendant said they didn't load it and don't know how it went off. The defendant told their friend to call 911 as they moved the gun away from the complainant. The defendant told their friend to call 911, and the defendant also said that the 911 operator told them to place the gun back in its case. The defendant also stated that they were watching Gotham and said that they were drunk, laughing, messing around.
So that might not even be true. This is just their statement. Their statement is that they were playing like fucking, like they were passing a joint with, but instead it's a gun. Like, that's their statement. But is that true?
And even on the night they shot Hastings, they were at home watching TV. On that night, Snow pointed a gun at Hastings and shot them. Hastings went on life support for 2 days before eventually passing.
I need
due
to rehear all
injuries
this.
on January 19th. According to the criminal complaint, the defendant stated they had been passing the gun around for hours and had been playing around with it. The defendant said they weren't paying attention hard enough and they might have been too drunk. The defendant said the compliant came up to them and was joking around, telling the defendant, "Ooh, shoot me," as they were laughing, and the defendant said, "Oh, okay," and said it went off, saying they were in shock and that it was supposed to be empty. The defendant said they didn't load it and don't know how it went off. The defendant told their friend to call 911 as
Right.
they moved the gun away from the complainant. The defendant
I
told
swear.
their friend to call 911.
That's not usually
And
loaded.
the defendant also said that the
Kinda too
911
late.
operator told them to place the gun back in its case.
Jesus.
The defendant also stated that they were watching
Jesus.
Gotham and said that they were drunk, laughing,
My
messing
bad.
around, and the gun had never
I
been
guess I
fired
forgot to
before.
empty it.
Later, Snow got
Oops.
indicted, and according to Texas law, they faced up to 20
Jesus.
years and up to $10,000 in fines for second-degree murder. They've been out on a bond of $20,000. The exact accusations against them included recklessly causing death by pointing a handgun and pulling the trigger. Snow initially claimed that the shooting was an accident, that they were friends playing around with a Glock handgun they believed was empty, but the evidence
Playing
presented by
with
the
a Glock.
prosecution suggested
Bro, that
otherwise.
sentence
For example,
is
Snow posted
wild.
disturbing content on their social media
We're just
accounts,
playing.
including TikTok
We're
videos
just-
in which they
we're
pretended to
just
harm
playing.
themselves, and Instagram posts with captions such as
Jesus.
"Blood is pretty." Their persona, Yandere, is also disturbing, as as it derives inspiration from the anime
Jesus.
meaning, which is a person that sometimes is affectionate and sometimes wants to kill you. Interestingly, Snow's case raised questions about the connection between violent content on social media and real-life violence. Some experts argue that exposure to violent content can desensitize people to violence and make them more likely to engage in violent behavior. This might just explain why Snow simply took a 3-week break from TikTok after the incident and went right back to posting her usual cosplay content. They, however, faced a lot of backlash for the insensitivity, especially after their video singing along to the audio, "Goodness, you're bleeding, what a wonderful feeling, you're down and you're pleading, my head is just reeling." So that goes to show, if you post edgy content on social media and that 0.0001% you accidentally
Kind of creepy.
kill someone, it's gonna be used against you. Yeah, I tried to find some 2023 updates on the case, but from my knowledge, he's still out on bail and the court cases are still ongoing. Ali Abulaban. On October 26, 2021, a popular TikToker, Ali Abulaban, shot and killed his wife Anna Abulaban and a man, Rayburn Cardenas Barron, in a twisted case of suspected extramarital affair.
Cheating?
This happened at their apartment in Spire, San Diego. Abulaban, aged 29 at the time, was a TikTok star that went by the username @JinKid and had a little over 940,000 followers on the app. His rise to fame was a result of his popular impersonations of the character Tony Montana from Scarface. In the movie, Montana is a powerful drug kingpin in Miami. Ali also did other comedy acts and impressions. So, how did the murder happen? Well, a few days earlier, on October 18th, Ali had been forced out of his 35th floor apartment by his wife and had moved into a nearby hotel. However, he had a secret key and later used it to sneak back into the home and planted a listening device on his 5-year-old daughter's iPad. He had suspected that his wife was cheating on him, hence the listening device, and in the afternoon of October 26, 2021, Ali listened in on the device and he heard his wife and a man, quote, giggling and talking. He rushed to the apartment and just around 3:10 p.m., the police were notified of the shooting. He had gone in and shot at the man, 29-year-old Barron, 3 times before shooting his wife,
and the lady?
28-year-old Anna, once in the head. Both died at the scene. Ali then took off and went to pick up his daughter from school. Afterward, he called his mother to confess killing his wife and then called the police. He was arrested while traveling on the eastbound highway about 45 minutes later with his daughter in the vehicle. The
daughter, though,
claims that Ali was motivated by jealousy and a desire to control his wife. He pleaded not guilty to the charges, and his defense team argued that the prosecution's case was based on circumstantial evidence. The defense also argued that Ali's mental state at the time of the killings was impaired by the use of cannabis, which may have affected his perception of events. But it didn't work out because there was security footage of him running out of the apartment in a hurry.
I'm trying to ruin weed.
San Diego's deputy DA Taryn Brass reported that when Ali picked up his daughter from school, he was still carrying the murder weapon. The judge on the case ordered that he be held in prison without bail.
I mean, that is pretty fucked up, but brother,
Prosecutors say
Mahek.
That guy is very emotional. Fairly. That's very fair. But bro, like, fuck. I wish, like, in those moments, people could remember the small but crucial kid. Like, that detail. There's still the kid there, though, man. Like, fuck. Like, if he didn't do that, he'd be free. She'd... like, he's right. There'd be a fucked up element to it. But, man, fuck. That ain't the way I'm going about it. That ain't the way to do it.
Bukhari. This next incident takes us to Leicestershire, where a terrible road crash led to the 22-year-old TikTok star Maybe Vlogs facing potential jail time for murder. Real name Bahek Bukhari, Maybe Vlogs is a well-known fashion influencer and equally outspoken Palestine supporter in the UK with about 128,000 TikTok followers and about 3.2 million likes. What did she do? Well, alongside her 45-year-old mother and 21-year-old friend, she is accused of having run 2 young men off the road and thus leading to their death. According to the police reports, on February 11th, 2022, at around 1:35 a.m., the 3 women, Maybe, her mom, and a friend, rammed into the vehicle that the young men were in, forcing it off the road on the A46 near the 6 Hills Junction in Leicestershire. They had apparently been in a high-speed chase beforehand. The vehicle that the 2 young men were in was ripped into 2 pieces, killing them instantly. It's suspected that more than 2 vehicles were involved in the crime, and so an additional 2 men have been charged in the case since a gray Audi TT and a blue Seat Leo were captured started going at equally high speeds near the collision at the time of the incident. It's
There was
not
a
said,
team.
but it can be assumed that the
Oh,
girl
what
was
the hell?
racing the other car with the other people that got charged as well. Though I don't know why you would be in a car racing with your mother next to you. Yeah.
Trying to
the case
show
is still
off, man.
ongoing and is expected to be
Look at what
heard
I
in
can do,
September
Mom.
2023,
Look at this
although
shit.
maybe and her accomplices made an
Yeah,
appearance
show
in court
what's
for a
up.
hearing on March 18th, 2023. In an earlier court hearing, a judge asked the trio if they knew they faced the, quote, most serious charge known to criminal law, and they answered yes. A bizarre aspect of this case, which also seems to be a thing with the disturbed TikTok influencers, is that Maybe posted a video almost making light of a similar situation. She made a satirical video in January 2022 in which she pretended to casually tell another person that she, quote, killed someone, and Shawn Mendes' It'll Be Okay played as the TikTok sound. She's also posted other controversial content on her social media accounts. In another recent TikTok posted by Maybe, a flashy car can be seen recklessly swerving around on a road. If you go to her account right now, it's still up and all the comments are disabled.
That is
Cameron
pretty
Herron. This is
odd.
another person we talked about in the darkest TikTok iceberg. By the way, you should watch that if you haven't. This
Iceberg?
next crime is interesting because the TikTok influencer behind it got even more famous and amassed new fans after it happened. The person of interest here is Cameron Herron, a TikTok star that was known for illegal street racing and his general love for cars. Aged 18 years old at the time, Herron got on the wrong side of the law after running over a mother, Jessica Reisinger Rubinal, 24 years old, and her daughter, who was just 21 months old. The accident happened on Bayshore Boulevard in Tampa, Florida, where Herron raced a friend who was 17 at the time. Herron had just gotten a new Ford Mustang GT as a gift.
Now,
from
this
his
may be the
parents,
darkest
and as he was
two video
driving,
I've
he
seen
pulled up
so
next to
far.
his friend
This
at a
shit is
stoplight. When it was their turn to
cooked
go,
up to
they
the max.
rapidly accelerated, and unfortunately, Herron lost control of his car. He swerved and hit Jessica, who was pushing her baby on a stroller on the waterfront sidewalk. The vehicle's diagnostics after the accident show the Mustang was doing 102 miles per hour before trying to brake. Bayshore Boulevard's zone speed limit was 45 miles an hour. Later on, in 2021, Cameron Herron, age 21, pleaded guilty to vehicular homicide and was sentenced to 24 years in prison. He is serving time at the Graceville Correctional Facility in Florida. His friend, Barano, who was in a Nissan Altima, also pled guilty and is serving a 6-year prison sentence. Herron's brother Tristan, who had been a passenger in the seat of the Mustang, had been charged with racing, but the charges were later dropped. As mentioned earlier, the interesting part of this case is that despite his conviction, Herron gained new fans on TikTok, and together with his existing followers, they started a campaign for his release with hashtag Justice for Cameron. In 2021, the hashtag had over 26 million views, and his name, hashtag Cameron Herron, had over 1.8 billion views.
Holy shit.
Many argued that his sentence was too harsh and claimed that he was, quote, too cute to go to jail, with some terming him as cute, innocent, and brave. Jesus.
What the fuck?
Also, over
He's too cute.
32,000 people signed a
He's-
Change.org
he shouldn't be in
petition
there.
titled Demand for 24 years sentencing judicial review of an unavoidable traffic accident, citing reasons, and one of them was the fact that the family of the victim got $6.4 million in
Minecraft.
compensation. Critics have pointed out that Cameron's actions
What is that? What does Minecraft have to do with it? The evidence to prove they were racing was a text exchange at 7 a.m. in the morning about Minecraft. Additionally, the victim's family is prove that. Jesus.
family of the victim
I can't believe people would hear this shit and then just be like, "No, he's too pretty. He can't go there."
got $6.4 million in compensation. Critics have pointed out that Cameron's actions
To say like a treatment may be harsh, like even if I don't agree with it, like fair, you know, like if you're like, man, this guy shouldn't be locked up for 20 years, maybe it should just be like 10. Okay, like everyone's entitled to their own opinions, right? But like to say this motherfucker should, to say he shouldn't be there because he's pretty is one of the most outrageous things I've ever heard, bro. If he did the fucking crime, that's absolute dog shit. He should do the fucking time, you know? Like, holy shit.
resulted in the death
I don't give a
of
fuck
two
if
innocent
he's the Mummy Returned like Brendan's Fraser. I don't give a fuck if he looks like him. I don't give a fuck. Put him in there. Like if it is what it like if it is what it is what it is, you know?
people, and his sentence is
Like, what
very
the
appropriate
fuck?
given the severity of the crime. Though there's always going to be those weirdos on the internet that I
crazy.
guess like murderers to this degree. Whatever. Let's just move on.
That is crazy.
John T. Collins.
That
and
is
Eric
not
Dodds.
that's not the first time I've heard people like worship a murder, but this guy was more like he had like a series of them. It was actual like a serial man. He's like a Spanish guy. My dad told me about a couple stories of him. But yeah, apparently everybody thought he was like so pretty that or so pretty, so handsome, so whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like, he was so good looking. People just didn't want to fuck with him just because of how he looked. They were like, damn, I mean, the guy looked good. I mean, shit. It's like, damn. That is crazy to me. Like, just because he looks good. Like, holy shit.
How about
But
committing
where
a
are people's-
murder with your
where are
partner
people's
and going
morals?
online to try
Where's
to defend
the-
them, and then
where's
both
the
of you end
fucking-
up getting arrested? Well, that was the case for TikTok
Jesus.
and OnlyFans
Shameless.
couple Jonte
Like,
Collier
what
and
the
Eric
fuck?
Dodds, both aged 23 years
I
old
can't
and
believe
living in
it.
Huntsville, Alabama as of 2022. The couple's rise to fame on TikTok was fueled by their pro-LGBTQ+ stance, and they had amassed over 800,000 followers. Their account primarily shared mini vlogs and life updates on what they did together. They were arrested and charged with the murder of Dakota Bradshaw in Georgia, which happened on August 1st, 2022. Collier was arrested on August 10th, and Dodds was later arrested on August 16th, 2022. Major Mike Freeman of the Walker County Sheriff's Office said he received reports of the shooting moments before witnesses put the couple at the scene. 417 East Peachtree Street, Rossville, Georgia. Witnesses said they saw a red truck and a blue Dodge Challenger leaving Bradshaw's home just after the shooting happened at around 1:17 p.m. The shooter was said to have gotten into the red truck. Bradshaw was found shot inside his home and later pronounced dead at a local hospital. Collier was arrested first after his home was raided by the police, and shortly after Collier's arrest, Dodds posted a video on their joint TikTok account claiming his partner's innocence. In the video, he says, quote, "No, he hasn't done anything wrong to no one. Y'all know John. John would not harm a soul. He's the most free-spirited, caring person that I know. He loves me even more than I love myself." End quote. He also made a GoFundMe campaign to raise money for his defense. However, just a few days later, Dodds was also arrested in connection with the murder. Collier was initially jailed in Alabama's Madison County before extradition to Walker County Jail. Dodds, on the other hand, was in Limestone County in Alabama and awaits extradition to Walker County Jail in Georgia too. So if they actually did it, we'll have to wait for the trial to continue. Chosen
Interesting.
Terrell
So it's
Hanna.
still kinda
Now
open.
this was an interesting
As,
case where the dude got caught for robberies because he was wearing
Interesting.
the same shoes he wore during the robbery on his TikTok account. They were customs. Let's talk about it. Chosen Terrell Hanna, a popular
Wait,
TikTok
what? His
personality
shoes?
with more than 149,000 followers and a little over 1.6 million likes. He was popular for edgy videos mixed with regular dancing and lip syncing videos. It was actually one of these videos that led investigators right to his doorstep after they identified his dyed pinkish purple hair and custom white Nike sneakers as resembling those worn by the person that they were looking for concerning a series of robberies. As it turned out, 22-year-old Terrell Hanna from Redford Township had robbed stores on 4 different occasions between December 1st, 2021 and February
was popping
1st,
off on TikTok.
2022. These stores included
Hey,
a
robbing
7-Eleven, gas
7-Elevens.
station, and a tobacco shop. On December 1st,
I mean, you probably don't
2021,
make
at a
much money,
7-Eleven
but, like,
store, he
still,
pulled a gun on
like-
a clerk and got away with an unknown amount of cash.
Like, you're
on
so
January
out in the
13th
public,
at a Marathon
like, this
gas
shit is gonna
station.
come
He
back
pressed the
for
gun
sure,
on the
like,
clerk's
holy
back
shit.
and took off with the money. Later on January 26th, he robbed the 7-Eleven again. His last robbery was just 6 days after the last, where he robbed a tobacco store and took off with cash and a bunch of cigars. Investigators got a tip from the gas station witnesses that the guy looked like someone they knew on Snapchat. Username given chosen_1. They used this to find his username on TikTok. They specifically identified his Nike shoes with red dots as the same ones worn during the robbery. Also, his hair, it's dyed purple and pink. They also said it was
Well, he kind of
sticking out
got like,
his ski mask. Was
yeah,
that a
he kind of got a, like, the Yeezy fucking, 2018 vibe. I kind of liked that hair when Yeezy had it. That shit was nice. The purple.
As evidence, investigators raided his home and found items believed to have been used during the armed robberies. He is being charged with robbery and possessing a firearm during a violent crime, which carries a prison sentence of over 20 years.
Jeez.
Haneen Hassam, an Egyptian TikTok star named Haneen Hassam, was arrested and sentenced in 2022 on human trafficking charges. Though this case is controversial, and you'll see why.
Trafficking.
Hassam at the time was a student and dabbled as a social media influencer, having over 1.3 million followers on TikTok. She was convicted despite her crime being one that sparked the interest of human rights activists. The activists argued that the charges were part of a crackdown on female social media influencers in Egypt, which was, quote, absurd, as these influencers were doing just what other influencers do every day. Hassam, alongside 11 other female social media influencers, was part of a crackdown by Egyptian authorities for making content that, quote, violated the family principles and values upheld by Egyptian society. In her videos, she had been encouraging girls that were over 18 to post videos of themselves on a video sharing platform Likey, where she said they can make money by going live. In one specific video, she told her followers that they could make over $3,000 by doing live broadcasts, but the authorities interpreted this as encouraging illicit online sex. She did denied the charges, explaining that, quote, "I've never said anything bad in my videos. I never said I wanted girls to do inappropriate things to earn money. I said respectable girls could earn money on social media," end quote. She was initially sentenced to 10 years in prison, but after global outrage from activists, her sentence was reduced to 3 years and a fine of $10,740. I'd like to read this tweet from my El Sadani. What does it mean?
That's like one of those moments of the. It's one of those moments versus like this guy's. It's like, yeah, like seems fair. It seems open for like people to have a counter of like, damn, 10 years just for like promoting her streaming, which they don't even know if she really was trying to promote what they think she was, which it kind of did sound like. Like, how else are you supposed to make 3K in a day streaming respectably? Jesus, that is a challenge. That is a challenge.
For an Egyptian court to convict TikTok influencers Hanin Hassam and Mawada.
Like fresh off the rip streaming too is like what it feels like she's talking about too. Like, holy shit, that bro.
Al-Adam on human trafficking charges. It means they're criminalizing what influencers globally do every day when they invite others to work with them and monetize TikTok activity. I don't know if she was paid by Likey to promote their service, but it reminds me of when influencers were being paid to move to Triller. Do you guys remember that? That failed app which people only use to make snippets for songs now. It seems like Likey paid her. Again, this is no confirming, but it just reminded me of the situation, and I'm only connecting it. Maybe Likey probably paid her to promote the service, and then she was like, hey yo, you girls can probably make money over there by going live. It says here she said she was talking about 18-year-old girls, but when we're talking about the something that violates the family principles and values upheld by Egyptian society, that being a law, I think there's a lot of stuff that falls under that if the Egyptian, I guess, law just doesn't see eye to eye with you on it, they're gonna take you to jail. But again, I don't want to talk too much about religion, but as of today, yes, she is serving time.
Interesting spot. I don't really know how like the Egypt shit works.
Our last TikToker is Rail Simmons, a fairly influential Minnesota man who decided to impersonate a federal officer to his 10,000 TikTok followers. Aged 53, Rail Simmons from southern Minnesota was sentenced to 6 years in prison for pretending to be a federal officer on TikTok. He made a TikTok profile under the username Ray Reeves and presented himself as a federal agent to his followers. In the videos, he displayed and wore law enforcement gear, as well as showcased guns and badges despite
Are you allowed to do that?
by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security or sworn in as a law enforcement officer. His crafty scheme seemed to thrive as he gained more followers and only got stopped once a woman he dated tipped the police. After his home was raided, the investigators found a lot of deadly weapons, 8 firearms, a blasting cap, a detonating cord.
I think there's a law. I think there's actually a law that's like says no impersonating police or some shit. I think it's not allowed at all.
Assault rifles, silencers,
makes sense.
And
they raided the guy.
Ammunition that were mostly unregistered. He also had body armor, badges, emblems, and documents to aid his fake persona. It was also surprising that he had a conviction in Colorado and thus was legally not allowed to possess any of the weaponry found at his home. He was charged with the impersonation and unlawful possession of firearms. He pleaded guilty to both charges and was sentenced to 6 years in prison and 3 years of supervised release. He got sentenced in 2022, which means he will be out in 2028 for pretending to be a police officer for clout points. That's a new one, guys. I never heard of that. I've heard of impersonating maybe a U.S. Marine. I never heard of fucking impersonating a police officer. This one's definitely gonna fall under things I never thought I would have to research.
Bro, his comment section probably was wild.
This video.
His comment section was probably wild. Probably had supporters, haters, pass buyers. Like, his shit was probably crazy. That video in general was crazy. This is probably one of the darkest 2 videos I've seen. Jeez, absolutely wild.